What's up? It's your girl, Urban Poet, here with Poetry.Hype. I just recited my poem, The Hidden Flower. Check it out on Defined.
Welcome to Season 3 of Defined by Poetry.Hype.
It's divine, it's I define all the things that's going through my mind. It's divine, it's I define all the things I'm going through.
I notice every flower around me gets picked. I also notice you, who come and sit and stare at me for hours. You softly graze my petals, amazed by its colors. Wrap your fingers around my stem, fascinated with its structure. And then you leave to roam the field frolicking with other things. I've heard about you. The ones that like to come and admire, claim me as your flower, but never pick me. Never mind how I've seen you leave with baskets full of lavender, lilac sometimes. I guess the petals are much more softer than mine because my beauty is only praised in hushed tones, wrapped in your selfish hold, withering more from you blocking my sun. My stem bends, replenishing what I can, but my roots are dry. Now you sit for minutes, rather hours. Take home twice the lilac and lavender, and I can't help but to notice every flower around me gets picked. But I also notice the flower next to me, whose sun is blocked for hours, only to be admired, but never picked.
Okay, so for my first question, tell us where's the first place you recited that poem?
Physically here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we got a world premiere.
World premiere, honey.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So what was the inspiration behind it? What made you approach it that way?
So it's kind of like two separate backstories that came together. One, I had went through like a situationship. Everybody know about a situationship. So I went through a situationship, and it wasn't secretive, but also at the same time, it was just kind of like, we know what's going on, and that's that. However, I'm messing with this young man, and then he go and is messing with some other shorty. And it made me, when I got older, it made me feel even more of a way, because it was just like I said in my poem, you admire me, you know what I'm saying? Clearly my beauty is only praised in hushed tones. Like, when we at your crib chilling or whatever, like, oh my gosh, like I'm everything. But then this other person that you're dating, they get the whole exposure. And I also kind of added colorism into the line of when I bring up lilacs and lavender, because everybody know that's like a soft purple tone, and your deep dark tones is like plum or something like that. And so I also brought colorism into it because I feel like that had played a big factor. But that situation had sat on my mind for like years, and I did want to write about it, but I didn't know how until I watched the movie. And what is the name of that movie? It stars Cameron Diaz, and the last, is it The Last Holiday or something? Not the one with Queen Latifah. It was white people. But but In the movie, though, not Cameron Diaz, the other star, she liked this guy. They had worked together, same as me and this guy, but we went to school together. They worked together, and he only wanted to admire her or be bothered with her through the closed doors. But in her face, he was engaged to this other woman that was kind of like a poster child or a trophy wife type of joint. And I watched that movie and I really like resonated with her. And so that brought on the poem, The Hidden Flower. Usually when I'm doing poems that are a lot more vulnerable to me, I like to kind of code them. So, the flower, of course, is me or another type of woman being put in a situation of, you only love me behind closed doors. Publicly, I'm not getting no type of affection or exposure, like I said, So it came from a movie and personal experience.
So if you were to go back in time, how would you navigate that situation in real time? Or for someone that may be dealing with something similar, right? Where they're in a situation and they feel like, well, man, my person only comes to pick me up at 8 p.m., but at 2 p.m. when I want to go out to the movies,
right,
I can't hear from the nigga. Just from your perspective, is it like a communication thing? It's like, hey, you communicate your terms, and if they don't follow it, get up out of there? Or how would you help someone navigate through that in 2025?
In 2025, I believe, first off, it just starts off as, where do you value your worth? Like, your worth is going to determine how everybody else perceives you. So what you make acceptable, what you tolerate, that's what people gonna bring to your table. Yeah, you can communicate, definitely. I definitely encourage, you get with somebody, here's your terms. If you want to be serious, you letting that person know, I'm dating with intent. If you don't want to be serious, you let a person know, I'm just out here to lollygag and have a little bit of fun until we cut ties or whatever. Communication definitely is one of the biggest keys, but also knowing your worth. Because at that time, I was just young and I'm out here thinking like, oh, I'm big shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm messing with shorty or whatever. But it was like I said, when I got older, I looked at it from a different perspective. And it was like, honestly, your worth was more than that. You know what I'm saying? I know at a young age, you was having your fun and everything. So not shaming you for it. Just now at this age in 2025, we understand that, we value ourselves a lot more than what we did. So your worth matters and communication matters too.
So how long ago did you write this poem? And not like exact.
Yeah,
couple months, couple years.
No, it's been some years. It's been at least like 3-4 years. Yeah, I slept on that poem for a long time.
And why would you say you did that?
I deem myself as more of a spoken word artist. And when I first wrote the poem, I believed I couldn't feel out the emotions for it to flow well. And so I was like, well, I'm not taking you on stage. I don't have a book to publish you in right now, so I can't take you on stage because you're not polished. It just wasn't polished enough for me yet.
Okay. And I think what surprised me in a good way, of course, watching you perform over the years, like you can project really well, or you can get into character really well, or like if it's a topic that requires a certain level of aggression or like fierceness, you can deliver on that. And I feel like this one, you were like a little more reserved and delicate and like soft, which kind of alludes to what's in the poem, which is being hidden and like talked to under the whisper tones. And I feel like you matched that pretty well and got us from like start to finish, like extremely well.
Thank you so much. Yes, when I was like, all right, this the poem that we doing. I was like, okay, well, we need to really tap into how we felt when this came about and how the character felt in the movie. Because again, it came from 2 different backstories. So thank you for that.
Yeah, and it's super real. Because I think what writers, myself, any writer coming up can learn from is like where your piece belongs, how it needs to be received, how it needs to be recited. Like all these things matter. If you're like, I'm hungry, but if you yell, I'm hungry, like Right? Oh shit. Well, nigga, damn, why you yelling at me?
Right.
So certain topics and certain things need to be mentioned in a manner and received in a way so people can connect to it in the way that you want them to. If I was just trying to let you know I was hungry, I probably shouldn't have blurted it out to you like that. I could say, hey, I'm hungry. Can we go get something to eat?
Real
versus
quick.
just screaming at you, right?
Right.
Not to say that that's what you do in your poetry, but just for people to understand, like when you have a body of work, how you deliver to somebody is important. What was your process to get your mind right for today's taping? And just regarding the poem too, like the poem.
Waking up early so I could like already kind of get my body moving and things, you know, because when you wake up early and you give yourself time between like give yourself some time, some self-care before a busy day, it really will mellow everything out. As an artist, and I'm pretty sure other artists can relate, you get nervous, even if like, you know, I'm in front of cameras. But in front of cameras, on stage, on the phone with just one person, is very nerve-wracking to like put your work out there like that. So I always like to give myself some self-care time to be like, all right, let's mellow out. This is what we got going on today. So let's place our mind here. I wore like light colors so I could feel light. Nothing like, everything with me is intentional, you know? The poem is called Hidden Flowers. I wore flowers. So I just make sure that my day is very intentional, what I know that I have going on. And with it being a poem and poetry and it being something vulnerable and soft, I use this day to be soft.
Nice. That's actually great. And I think that helps too, just like paint the picture. I don't know if you pay attention to the pre-production slides, but obviously there's flowers all around you. So I just love how it all ties in together with this, theme of where we are and kind of how you approach the poem. For some artists that are like coming up, one thing that's super important for me is just like providing inspiration. And I feel like in your journey in poetry, like I've seen you grow and kind of form into like what you enjoy the most, or how you want to present yourself. You're really aware of the type of intention you walk around with. So my next question is for folks that are trying to figure out how to navigate this poetry thing, right? And they have stories that are close to them, stories that they're passionate about, but it may bring up feelings or it may bring up emotions from a previous time. Or maybe they feel like they don't want to give that person the justification of writing a fucking poem about them or it being out and they knowing it's about them. How do you navigate that world of what stories to tell, managing the emotions that it brings up for you, and then just ultimately saying, F it, I'm gonna share this one. Because I mean, this one was one you sat on, and now it's go time for it.
Right. What I would say, don't force it. If you really feel like you're in a space where it's like, I'm not ready to feel these emotions, then don't force it. Like at the end of the day, the experience already happened. So the experience is with you. It's not going nowhere. So when you ready to write that, you write it down. When you ready to put that work out, put it out. I'm never one to be like, oh, I went through this last night. I'm finna write about it today and I'm finna be on stage on Wednesday. Like, nah. I actually have a few poems where I wrote one about someone and I was like, okay, I know I'm finna get on stage and I'm finna say this. And as vain as it's gonna sound, I knew I was gonna get on stage with that poem right after I was done writing it because it was a cold ass poem. So I was like, I'm gonna read this to this person so this person knows I'm getting on stage and I'm talking about you. Period. When it comes to my art, also being a poet, people should know they're going to get written about. You should know you're going to get written about. So another thing, the second thing is do it when you're ready. Don't rush into it. Do it when you're ready. And if it's about somebody, again, it's your art. This is how you express yourself. And if it's about people, they just going to have to suck it up. They're going to have to suck it up. So you put your work out, baby. You do what you got to do, especially if it's going to help you at some point in time release all of that. You write what you need to write and you say it to whoever you need to say it to.
Now, that's powerful because, your perspective is important as well. Two people endure a situation and each person has a right to tell their side of it, you know. And if one person happened to be a poet, well, they got the upper hand.
Hey.
Still are entitled to be able to tell their story. Same
Right.
music artists do, right? When they tell stories about their parents or the way they grew up. Or,
Yeah.
some of the best songs come from real and true situations.
And that's very true. I got a few poems. I got 2 new poems going right now, and I'm like, people gonna know this is about them. And I'm like, but it's too good for it to sit in my phone or my notebook or my laptop. So it's just like, I'm finna put this out, period. Like, yeah.
Okay. Well, to close us out, what will be some, what do you want to leave us with? And if you don't have anything in particular, just give some advice to up and coming creatives, right, that are navigating. I know we already kind of gave them some advice on how to muster up the courage to tell that story, but just in general, you know, if there's some positive energy you want to pass on, this would be a great time.
As an artist, any artist, give yourself grace. A lot of times I believe, especially speaking from like a poet standpoint, we be feeling like we're supposed to be like a typewriting machine and be like busting out a poem, busting out a poem, busting out a poem, because you want to get in the shows and it's this open mic going on and this poetry slam going on, and you're like, oh, I already performed this poem and I need a new poem. Love on the poems that you already have, because you don't know, every crowd is different. So there's someone who did not hear that poem that wants to hear that poem. Give yourself grace. And if you have writer's block right now, it's okay. It's all right. You probably going through something at that time and it's not meant to be heard right now. You're not meant to tell your story right now, and that's okay. You give yourself grace if you can't pick up a pen or a pencil and write on that paper, or if you can't pick up your laptop and start typing up a poem in 3 minutes. Give yourself grace. And my last thing is, when you do get on stage, because I get told this a lot, when you do get on stage and you do your thing and you get off stage, don't tell nobody you was nervous. Don't tell nobody you was nervous. Because 9 times out of 10, baby, they didn't even know you was nervous. They couldn't even tell that you was nervous. Don't tell nobody you was nervous. Somebody walk up to you and say, you did an awesome job. You say, thank you. And you move along. Don't even tell nobody that you was nervous. So those are my 3 things. Give yourself grace. Don't tell nobody you was nervous. And allow yourself time. Okay? Peace.